Hello everyone, I am Ms. Saili Jadhav, Department of Civil Engineering. So today we are learning our next one topic, that is scrutiny of tender. So after opening of tenders, thorough scrutiny should be done. So these are some procedures. That list of all tenders received along with their earnest money should be repeated. If any contractor has forgotten to enclose the check or a demand draft, the necessary endorsement should be made to this effect on envelope and should be made on the concerned contractor should be informed accordingly. Then it should be checked that every tenders are duly signed by the contractor. So it is must be a condition of the contract are not altered and new conditions are not put. This should be checked in time, otherwise will result in dispute. Then the rates quoted should be written both in words and figures. If both are not same, then the lower one should be considered. The calculations done by the contractor and the total amount worked out should be checked. Then they checked whether tender submitted by the contractor is unbalanced. Usually the lowest tender should be accepted depending upon the reputation of the contractor and fulfillment of the other conditions. After thorough scrutiny, a comparative statement of all the tenders should be prepared and signature of all contractors or their representative who were present while opening the tenders should be taken. The lowest tender should be placed first and the highest tender should be placed last. So this is your scrutiny of tender. Now the next one is e-tendering system. Now this is the new topic in our syllabus, e-tendering system. So e-tendering system means an internet based process wherein the complete tendering process from advertising to receiving and submitting tender related information are done online. This enables firms to be more efficient as paper based transactions are reduced or eliminated, facilitating for a more speedy exchange of information. So, an e-tendering system facilitates the complete tendering process from the advertising of the requirement through to the placing of the contract. This includes the exchange of all relevant documents in electronic format. E-tendering process in India is designed to ensure that the work to be done for the government for a particular client is done in a fair way. For example, a certain place may have various procurement policies which guide the government of that place on how to make a decision and which tender to accept. Although we know an e-tendering process is a very important decision on which tender to bid or accept, it is not only factor to be taken into account. Once the client or a government accept tender, it is binding on both the parties. This means the company or a person who has won the tender has to provide goods and services in the manner agreed to and at the price offered, and the client will have to pay the agreed price in the agreed time. Once accepted tender is a binding contract. The process of tendering involved some kind of complicated procedures and processes like with the help of procurement software. So the type of tendering an employer must be go with the depends purely on the nature of the contract, the complexity in the construction, the expertise needed, the various other reasons. So the various types of tenderers are generally used are open tender, selective tender, negotiated tender, serial tender, global tender, and local tenders. So the next one is how e-tendering process has to be done. So the first one is tender process is determined. Then the second one is request for the tender is prepared. Third, tender is invited. Then the fourth one is suppliers respond. Then the fifth one is evaluation and selection. Then the sixth one is notification and debriefing. The next one is contracts established and managed. Okay, so this is the chart of your e-tendering process. So the first one is the tender process is determined. So in this tender process, how register for e-tendering process? The organization which requires the tender will determine the type of tender and that will be used and what will be involved in the online tendering process. There are various types of tenderers are already discussed, and these tenderers can be issued through the expression of interest, that is EOI. It is shortlisted for potential suppliers before seeking the detailed offers. Then the request for information. It is used in the planning stage to help in defining the project, however, not to use select suppliers. Then the request for quotation, that is RFQ. So it is invites businesses to provide a quote for a provision of specific goods and services. Request for E request for tender and invitation to tender by public advertisement open to all the tenders. Then the second one is request for tender is prepared. So the tender request includes what is required, then the requirements of the contract and how should be respond. These are the invitation to the suppliers to provide a competitive offer to win contract for supply of their products or services. The description of goods and services to be procured. This include what the work will involve, any technical specifications, and anything is related to the requirement, deliverable, or outcomes of the project. Then conditions of tender. So in this consist of terms and condition must be met in order to be considered for the project. Then the evaluation criteria. So this outlines how your tender submission will be assessed and evaluated. Now the next one is tenderers are invited. So third one, tenderers are invited as a part of online tender submission procedure depending on the value, complexity, and the business category. Your ability to identify the opportunities in the competitive tender market is a crucial of part of achieving this process. The initial step to online tender submission procedure is to find out the organizations or government agencies that are likely to need your product or services. Registering with the tender information service providing website can be another great way to keep track of what opportunities are available in the tender market. The fourth one is supplier respond. So this include this the responses are includes you should get all the relevant documentation and then attend any pretenders briefing session being conducted. Clarify the uncertainties. Then the plan and prepare your response. Then the last one is submit prepared response in the right format on time and at the right places. Then the fifth one is evaluation and selection. Each tender will be checked for compliances and then evaluated across the criteria specified in the tender documentation. The tender which offers the best value for money will win the business. Each tender will be initially assessed to find out if it complies with all requirements of the tender documents. The tender being lodged on time. The documents are signed are required. Tender meets all the mandatory requirements. Now the next one is notification and debriefing. So in notification and debriefing, when a contract has been awarded, The successful tenderer will be advertised in writing of the outcome, and the unsuccessful tenderers are advised a debriefing interview. So the last one is contracts established and managed. So generally a formal agreement will be required between the successful tenderer and the relevant agency. Once you are notified of the success of your tender and have awarded the contract, it is important to meet all requirements and manage the contract effectively. It is important to maintain ongoing and open communication with contracting organization so that you can build a strong and sustainable relationship. Companies are usually more willing to work and the contract with other organizations that they have trust and the familiar with. If they are confident using the services of your businesses, then there are more chances for them to choose your over other competitors. These are the e-tendering process in detail. Now the next one topic is unbalanced tender. So in the case of item rate contract, the total cost is based on the estimated quantities mentioned in the schedule B. If these rates quoted by the contractor are responsible, and the tender is known as balanced tender. But sometimes the contractor puts up the higher rates for certain items and lower rates for other items, so that the total amount of tender remains practically unaffected. Such a tender is known as unbalanced tender. So the best way is to scrutinize and analyze the rates quoted for different items by different contractors. These qualities are approximate and there is every possibilities. The another point is to be noted here is the contractor all giving any chances to the site engineer for a classification of soil. The aim of the contractor is to get maximum benefit at the time beginning and neglect or abandon the last finishing terms. So this will vary according to the site conditions, and such unbalanced tender which will cause considerable loss to the department should be rejected. Okay, so this is your unbalanced tender. Okay, here we have completed our third chapter, tender and tender documents. So in this chapter we are learned whole the definitions of different terms, then in briefing tenders, types of tenders, the tenders and types of documents required for the tender. Okay, all this include in this our third chapter, that is tender and tender document. Okay, thank you.